right, listen, I'm gonna be straight up. I'm not trying to waste you guys' time. I just want to give you guys a huge shout out for the last stream because you guys are so awesome. We had over 1,000 people the entire time. Huge shout out to the Noti Gang for the last video. If you guys will be featured in the next video, all you guys have to do is subscribe, post notifications on, and comment Noti Gang on this video. But we're gonna go to the top 5 best loadouts for Rebirth Island Warzone, guys. This is all things I actually use on my stream and a lot of class setups that people constantly ask for and never have the opportunity to really see. So we're gonna go right into it. So starting out with one of my personal favorites, we're gonna use the Owen, and trust me when I say this Owen absolutely slays. I didn't think it was gonna be this nasty, but trust me when I say this does insane amounts of damage. So we're gonna start out with the recoil booster for the high fire rate, and trust me, this is basically one of the most essential attachments for the Owen. You're gonna want to rock this, and the minus accuracy honestly isn't that big of a deal because trust me, we're gonna fix that. We're moving on to the Gawaiian 188mm shrouded for the less damage fall off at long range, bullet velocity, and limb damage. Now it shows a negative recoil control and headshot damage, but trust me, we're compensating for all of that. All of it, baby, we got this. So this is personal preference. I like the Niter model 47. Now some people like the slate reflector, and then there are weirdos out there that, you know, use everything else, but I chose the Niter model 47 just because in my opinion it's the best sight. I think it has the least amount of recoil, at least visually for me, and some people like using a slate reflector. Completely up to you. You can move on though. We got the remove stock for the increased movement, increased aim down sight speed, increased sprint to fire speed, and increased aim walking movement speed. Guys, remember this is an SMG. You guys want to be able to move as smoothly as possible with no issues, not feeling like this is a giant AR. It says minus accuracy, recoil, and aim walking steadiness, but trust me, you're not even gonna notice that. We're moving on to acrobatic from the increased movement speed, the increased sprinting move speed, and we top it all off with quick to increase the sprint speed. Now moving on, we're putting on the polymer grip for the increased flinch resistance and accuracy and recoil during sustained fire. Now you guys saw all those negatives earlier with the recoil and accuracy and all that. This negates literally all of that. Moving on, we're putting on the 7.62 Gorenko 72 round drum. Bro, when I say this thing is absolutely incredible, recoil control and accuracy, fire rate and magazine ammo capacity, 72 bullets of high fired controlled recoil SMG bullets. Absolutely insane. Now you guys see the cons: aim down sight speed, reload quickness, bullet penetration, bullet velocity and range. Trust me when I say that's not a big deal. We're adding on lengthen, compensate for all that. Bullet velocity is now up there all over again, and this is an absolute tank of an SMG. We have the last thing, which is the M1941 hand stop to increase the recoil and accuracy, and it sacrifices a tiny bit of hip fire accuracy, but honestly, are you really gonna hip fire this thing? If you want to, completely up to you. Still gonna be really good, but this thing now has 0 recoil, extremely fast firing weapon, and is an overall top 5 weapon in Warzone. Moving on to something I tried out literally yesterday. Like, I forgot how crazy the Bren was, guys. It's absolutely incredible. I'm starting out with the MX silencer for the sound suppression, vertical recoil control, and horizontal recoil control. Like, I'm gonna show you guys a clip of me just absolutely destroying the enemies constantly, like over and over and over again. I didn't realize how good this weapon is, but it's an absolute tank. So I put on the Queen 705 Royal for the horizontal recoil control, bullet velocity, reduced scope sway, and gun bob, and damage range. Bro, when I say this thing is literally built different, this thing is the best LMG, like quite literally the best LMG in Warzone. I don't know how it's so good, but it's just amazing. Minus sprint to fire time and aim down sight time, but honestly that's not a big deal. I put on the SVT 40PU scope. Now I mean, some people like to just use the G16. It's completely up to you. I chose to use the SVT because of the farther scope, the accuracy, which increases basically, you know, the recoil accuracy and all that, and you know, you can zoom in, you can zoom out. I feel like it has lower recoil. I honestly personally feel like it has lower recoil. It does much better, and so I chose that. I chose the Queen's Model 11BH for the increased accuracy, flinch resistance, recoil stability, recoil control, and aiming stability. You sacrifice the movement speed, but at the same time you have to factor in this thing is literally a laser. You can map people from all the way across the map, and I'm not even joking. I wish I could say I was joking, but this thing can literally map people all the way across the map with this entire loadout. So we put on the tight grip for accuracy and recoil control during sustained fire, and trust me when I say you definitely want to use that, or sleight of hand, more so tight grip just to make sure this thing is a laser, but you know, completely up to you. put on fully loaded for as much ammo as possible. Polymer grip for flinch resistance and accuracy and recoil during sustained fire. Like I said, polymer grip is like the magic attachment for a lot of these guns. It makes these like shaky, wobbly, hard gunfight type guns like just straight lasers that have no issues anymore. And I really like this rear grip. So I put on the 6.5 Sakura 40 round magazine for the recoil control and accuracy, aim down sight speed, and fire rate. This thing shoots incredibly fast, low recoil. Now it says lower velocity and range and bullet penetration damage. Trust me, I'm saying you're not going to notice that in the slightest bit because we fixed it with lengthened helping with the bullet velocity, and an M19 hand stop to top this all off with the recoil control and accuracy, sacrificing hipfire accuracy, which honestly I don't think anyone is going to be hip firing with the brand. If you do, hey, send me the clip, bro. Just send me the clip. Next, we're moving on to my personal favorite weapon that I use basically every single stream, which is the MP40, and we're starting out with the recoil booster for the increased fire rate, minus a little bit of accuracy, but honestly it's not a big deal. That's used in every single setup. VDD 189mm short for the damage range and limb damage with the minus headshot damage. Honestly, you're not going to need the minus headshot damage because of how much damage it's actually going to put out. Absolutely insane. It absolutely shreds. I chose a slate reflector, but some people can actually choose the Krosnick ISO 1M and still go crazy with it, especially since it increases the aim down sight speed. Now with the regular setup without the short, I probably would have used the iron sight just because it's a little more clear. For this one, you know, it's kind of questionable. It's kind of just like a slit. So it's completely up to you if you want to use a slate reflector or not. Honestly, I did start out without using the slate reflector and it was good for me. So it's whatever you want to do. It's personal preference. Moving on, we're using a Krosnick 33M folding for sprint to fire speed and movement speed. And you sacrifice initial recoil and you sacrifice initial firing recoil. But guess what? We're going to fix that right now with initial firing recoil increase with brace. Trust me when I say this is fantastic, but then we're going to put on quick to move around a lot faster. And we're putting on the magic attachment polymer grip. This thing is so amazing with the flinch resistance and accuracy and recoil during sustained fire. Trust me when I say this thing, magical, absolutely magical. But then we put on the Gorenko 7.62 45 round mags for recoil control, movement speed, aim down sight speed, and fire rate. This thing makes it shoot faster and honestly control recoil much better than you probably ever would with this setup right here. Usually people use the Krosnick 317 for the highly controllable and accurate, but with this, it's still extremely controllable and accurate. Now, I didn't even realize, but I'm actually using hollow point still. It's completely up to you if you want to use hollow point. I would actually probably more so go with lengthen. Like I'm pretty sure this setup right here, yep, I have lengthen. So my preference would most likely be the lengthen setup, not the hollow point setup. So do not go with hollow point, try to stick with lengthen. Then last but not least, we have the M1941 hand stop for the recoil control and accuracy. So sacrificing a slight bit of hip fire accuracy. And trust me when I say it's not even going to be noticeable. You're still going to be able to hip fire with it and still go crazy with it. Next is one of my low-key personal favorites just because it has absolutely zero recoil. Like if you want to try a gun that has zero recoil like the Bren, but you want to try an AR version, try the Cooper Carbine right now. So here is the MX silencer. We're going to start out with the sound suppression, vertical recoil control, and horizontal recoil control, minus the aim down sight speed, but honestly that's not even a big deal because we're going to compensate for that. So we're going to put on the 22-inch Cooper Custom for the highly accurate and controllable reduced scope sway and gun bob and fire rate. Trust me when I say you want to have high fire rate with this gun, you want to stay off the mini map, and at the same time you want to be able to have low recoil. This is going to be the setup. We're going to keep going though. It's going to have some negative sprint to fire and hip fire accuracy, but not a big deal. I'm not going to notice it. We're going to put on the SVT 40 PU scope 3 to 6 times just because I feel like you're going to get more range. You're going to be able to see the enemy better, and I feel like you're going to have less recoil than someone saying using the G16. Now it looks like they have higher accuracy and recoil control, but it's around the same with more sight than the G16. Moving on, we're going to put on the Cooper 45W for the recoil control when mounted, crouched, or prone, and accuracy and recoil during sustained fire. First one, not really that big of a deal unless you're mounting, and I mean, trust me, you're going to notice when you're mounting this thing. It's a literal laser. But just to add on to it, we put on brace for the initial firing recoil. I think this is one of the great attachments to actually have on there. Some people put on tight grip, and if you want to use on tight grip, completely up to you. You can use brace or tight grip. Accuracy and recoil during sustained fire. Tight grip would sort of just be the same as, you know, the Cooper 45W. So it's kind of a toss-up whether you want to use brace and Cooper 45 or Cooper 45 RS and then tight grip. Really up to you. It's gonna have the same effect basically. Now put on fully loaded for the max starting ammo. You can use whatever you want to for perk 2. It doesn't really matter. I put on the polymer grip. It's the magic attachment for the flinch resistance and accuracy and recoil during sustained fire. Then we put on the 9mm 60 round drum. Now this increases the recoil control and accuracy, fire rate, aim down sight speed, and magazine ammo capacity. Now it says bullet velocity goes down in range and bullet penetration and damage and reload quickness. Honestly, not a big deal. You have 60 bullets. You're going to be able to kill at least 2-3 enemies before this thing runs out, and lengthen fix the bullet velocity. So you have none of those negatives to basically worry about except maybe reload quickness, which like I said, this is going to slay at least 2 or 3 before you have to reload. Last but not least, we have these beautiful M1941 hand stop for the recoil control and accuracy, and we lose a little bit of hip fire accuracy, but at the same time, who cares? We're not really trying to hip fire this gun. And I think everybody from my stream was waiting for this setup right here, because this setup is a low-key sleeper. I think everyone's sleeping on the EM2. I was sleeping on the EM2 for a while until I tried it out one stream. Somebody told me it was good again, and this is the gun that I always used to use. So we're gonna start out with the agency suppressor for the sound suppression, vertical recoil control, bullet velocity, and effective damage range. Now it has the cons of aim down sight speed, aim walking steadiness, and aim stability, but trust me when I say this gun right here is a hitter. And I'll be honest, I'm gonna be completely honest with you guys, this loadout is probably for someone who can control recoil at least a little bit. If you can't control recoil in the slightest bit, you probably shouldn't use this gun, but this is a gun for somebody that can control recoil just a tiny bit. It's like on the slightly above beginner level. Now next is the 25.8 task force for bullet velocity, horizontal recoil control, effective damage range, and vertical recoil control. You want to use this. You don't really want to use any of these other ones. They're not really as good as this. They're just not. They're really just not. Now I know you see all the cons, but it's aim walking movement speed, hip fire accuracy. Why would you hip fire this gun? Just why would you hip fire this gun? Aim down sight speed and sprinting movement speed. Trust me, it's going to be fast enough. We're definitely going to make it fast enough. Now axial arms ×3, this is a must. I don't think you should use literally any other one. They're just not going to hit the same as axial arms ×3. We're going to use a Staynag 50 round drum. We're going to use a Staynag. We're going to use the Staynag 50 round just because I feel like it's one of the best ones. If you don't want any con except reload quickness, then you can put on the 40 round, but I think it's kind of stupid. I think you should just definitely use the 50 round to get as many bullets as possible and be able to actually squad wipe the entire team. Like with 50 rounds, you can take out an entire team. And last but not least, we have the field agent grip for increased horizontal recoil control and vertical recoil control, with the firing movement speed and ADS firing movement speed just decreased a little bit, not really that noticeable. But this right here, this gun right here is my baby. Like I use this almost every match, especially if I'm going against some sweaties. This thing absolutely fries, and that's my top 5, guys. Let me know what you guys think. Tell me if you guys enjoyed it, and let me know in the comment section which one you guys are gonna be trying out first. And if you guys want to see more episodes of this particular series of the top 5, also let me know in the comment section down below. You guys have been awesome. Much love to you guys, and I'll see you guys later. Peace out.